Oh, hey. Stay Brony, my friends. Yeah! Gang, how you doing? A little technical thing going on here with Dave, but we are here. It is another Monday evening here on San Jose, California, West Coast, with your buddy Dusty. And it's another beautiful day. It's the last show of the year. A couple of days. It's gonna be 2014. 2014. Where did the year go? Where did it go? We had a big long drought of pony. Then all of a sudden we get a brand new season and the year goes gone. Because we're always looking forward to that new show every week. Oh, looking forward to the new show. Absolutely. Well, with us tonight is one Mr. Dave Polsky, writer on our MLP favorite series. But not only that, he has written on South Park. He has written comedy with Keenan Ivory Wayans and with Cedric the Entertainer. He also wrote Scary Movie 2 and is working on a new series called Sonic Boom, which I believe is in the Sonic universe. Is that not correct, Dave?
Yes, it is. That is correct.
Yes. So we get a new Sonic cartoon, also put out by VHS. Yes. So with that, I'm sure we can't talk about Sonic Boom too much, but I know a lot of our fans are also Sonic heads, so I'm sure they're going to be very excited to see that come about.
Okay.
First question, real quick, and I do this one with everybody now. It's going to be my standard stock new question for everybody. What are some of your earliest memories of cartoons and comics that you enjoyed as a kid?
That's well. The most influential thing I think was Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Yosemite Sam, Foghorn Leghorn, that whole menagerie. And that sensibility, that sort of anarchic sensibility, without a doubt, that was the most influential thing animation-wise in my childhood. There's not even a close second, really.
Yeah, so it's that slapstick, off-the-cuff comedy thing. And we saw a bit of that in Too Many Pinkie Pies.
Yeah, I think so. And people call it slapstick. I'm not a big fan of that. I guess it's true. But I don't think of it that way. I think of it sort of like conceptual humor pushed to the extreme. That's how I think of it. Because slapstick sometimes to me just feels like just gratuitous. Mm-hmm. Just fall. It's funny. It's funny to see somebody fall down just because it's funny to see somebody fall down. Okay. Whereas I think I always felt in Looney Tunes that it was based in character, if it was, just because I don't consider myself a huge fan of slapstick, but I am a huge fan of Looney Tunes, and I'm trying to make sense of it, and it might make no sense at all. But
I would say it's sort of the difference between, let's say, Laurel and Hardy versus, rabbit season, duck season. Whereas Laurel and Hardy was all, a little slapstick, a little here and there. Whereas rabbit season and duck season made you think a bit, even though there was still the gunshots and the duck bill jokes. But it was more of Bugs Bunny having to outwit to make that happen.
Right. I mean, the central character was like this kind of trickster character, and but at the same time, I like Laurel and Hardy too. So maybe I'm just afraid to admit how much I like slapstick. Maybe that's it.
You can't have any lowbrow comedy around here. You're a writer, you know. Not only are you a writer, but you created The Buzz on Maggie for Disney Channel. Can you give us some of the insight into what it's like to have your own creation up there on the screen every week? It's like that you created those characters. What was that like to create a show and just have it, pop to life?
It's a little hard to explain. It is kind of a singular experience. It's very different from having being a staff on writer or a freelance writer on somebody else's show, or even a high level executive producer, a co-executive producer. I think it's still different. It's I mean, the closest thing I can think of, it's like having a child. I mean, there's it's your child. You were there at conception. Mm-hmm. And it's comes out of you. It's sort of a reflection of who you are to a certain degree. And then all these other people got interested in it, and all this money came flowing to it, and all these people started working on it, and you became suddenly a boss. Mm-hmm. Kind of one of the craziest things, there's really almost no, one of the very, very, very strange things about creating your own show, if you haven't had your own show before, is that suddenly you go from a person who just goes from job to job to job, mm-hmm. to being the CEO of a corporate. It's like being made the CEO of a company with dozens, if not hundreds, of employees, and literally millions of dollars budget. So it's like you go and I had never run a McDonald's. You know what I mean? So that was very strange. Just that from a process point of view, from a production process point of view, from the point of view of. But I have to say, the process of getting those stories made, and there's really nothing that was has compared in terms of how satisfying it was. To do that, and then to watch my own show. It's a little bittersweet because I think the show did well, but wasn't a huge hit, and it only went for one season. So it's a little bittersweet for me to watch the episodes now. Mm-hmm. That the series didn't go longer, but I'm happy with what we did there. And I have to say, Pony to me feels like kind of an extension of the same kind of thing that made me interested in doing that. I mean, that show also had one female protagonist instead of 6, mm-hmm. but she was not your typical female character. The stories weren't your typical girly cartoon stories, and the stories kind of had, I think, had a kind of a cleverness to them, and a beginning, middle, and end to them that you see a lot, and that's sort of part of this Pony signature. So it's been wonderful for me. I realize I'm going way beyond what you asked, but it's been wonderful for me to be part of Pony, just because it feels like that's the creative impulse that brought me to Maggie sort of is able to that itch can still be scratched in this universe.
Well, that's cool, because I actually I hadn't even known that you were part of that, much less the creator of it. So I actually watched an episode today and went, wow, I've seen this formula before. What if they're cartoon horses instead of flies? Yeah, that'd be damn close, actually. So, and the one episode I did see was kind of fun. So it's like, wow, maybe I'll get some more of those. When you write for a comedian, sort of either Keenan Ivory Wayans or Cedric the Entertainer, how much of what you're writing is actually the actual jokes? Are you just giving them ideas for them to write their own jokes? I mean, I've always wanted to ask this question of somebody who's written for a comedian. It's like, okay, you see, Dave Letterman had a writing staff, or all these guys, these late night guys had writing staffs. What do you actually do for a comedian?
Well, in terms of the real specific, it's hard to answer that really specifically, because it always depends on the specific the context. Like if Keenan Ivory, even on Keenan Ivory Wayans' late night show, just to pick one example, mm-hmm. that's where I first met Keenan. There were the writers had different functions. There were certain writers who, roughly speaking, the writing staff was split into two groups. One group was working on his monologue jokes for the monologue at the top of the show. Mm-hmm. The other group was working on sketch ideas that could be produced and run on particular episodes. Either they were tied to a particular guest we were having, or could just kind of stand alone. That just felt like they fit the tone of the series and could just be slotted in anywhere we needed a sketch. So even on a given show, writers are doing different things. So it's hard to answer that question in a real global way that's that's meaningful. The only global answer I can give you that maybe makes sense is that you're really just kind of an extension of the there's usually one person who's kind of sets the comedic tone, mm-hmm. and you're kind of an extension of their brain. You're like out there looking for ideas, maybe just bringing raw ideas to the table. Maybe you'll develop that raw idea and into a sketch or build some jokes around it, or you'll bring a joke and someone will build a monologue around it, or they will find other jokes to go with that joke. It's like you're almost like you're just a piece of the brain, and the idea is to sort of work well within that brain and not to cooperate with the center of that brain, which is generally not you, and or you'll get or they'll get rid of you.
So, sort of like the Borg of comedy.
Kind of, yes. It's kind of like some kind of right.
Here's one. Which is your favorite pony to write for, and what are some of the reasons that particular pony is so fun to write for?
Well, the one I'm most fun. Mm-hmm. It really depends. I think my gut answer, my immediate reflex answer is Pinkie Pie. Mm-hmm. But it's all of the ponies they're all fun in their own way, and they're all difficult in their own way. Mm-hmm. But if I'm forced to pick one, I would say Pinkie Pie, and I would say because she's really the closest to that Looney Tunes kid thing that still lives in me of this kind of anarchic presence.
Anything can happen.
Right. That's that really appeals to the kid in me. But I like them all. They're all fun to write, and it's just the fun. What makes it really fun for me is finding the right story idea that goes with the right character, so you get to explore that character in a new way. So like writing Keep Calm and Flutter On was really fun for me because it enabled me to explore Fluttershy from a slightly maybe different angle than maybe she was explored before. So the funnest part is to sort of make a story that brings out a slightly new discovery about an already known character. When those two things go together, that's the most fun, no matter which character it is.
That's cool. So then feeling Peking Keen was basically just a great big old huge funsy for you. Yeah.
Well, absolutely.
Feeling Pinkie Keen, when we saw that, this was your first episode with the show, right? First episode that you wrote.
Right? Feeling Pinkie Keen, yes. Yeah.
How hard was it? How hard was it to write the many different Pinkie senses? I mean, you had to come up with all these different things that cause different things to happen. Do you have to really sit down with a flow chart? It's like, well, if this happens, then something drops on her head.
No, it wasn't like that. I mean, do you mean like constructing the specific gags? Is that what you're saying?
Constructing the specific gags. I mean, there were so many things that Pinkie would do, and then like a door would open or something would fall or something like it. You had to construct all these things. So basically you took Pinkie as a character and you gave her more depth by giving her these Pinkie senses, right? We didn't know about the Pinkie sense until you wrote about them. So how hard was it to do that and keep it within, say, character? Just basically keep it within Pinkie Pie's framework of being a character.
The
tough ones, I know.
I don't know how to. How hard was it? I would say it was a 6. Yeah, I'm having trouble wrapping my brain around how to say how hard it was. I can say that that it wasn't my main focus, believe it or not.
Okay.
My main focus was on constructing a story that mined the idea of what it means for in this universe where magic is like the physics of this universe. Here is this form of magic or form of that feels, at least to Twilight, outside the realm of what is knowable and makes sensible in terms of magic as she knows it. Or, in this universe, magic to me is like the physics of the universe. So here's this outlier experience that makes no sense. And so to construct a story out of that base with that initial idea, I also understand that idea wasn't mine. That was something Lauren and Rob had already kicking around. And so it was more a question of how to build a story out of that could use this as sort of its seed.
Oh, okay.
And so my main focus was trying to figure out how to build a story. And of course I did it in conversation with them. I didn't do it I didn't go off by myself to do it. But how to take that initial kind of kooky idea and have it be a 22-minute story. And so then within that, constructing the gags, once the story starts to make sense, at least make sense to us, constructing the gags is just fun. It's not really hard. I guess the only challenging part is to make sure that each one feels like it's somehow topping the next one, that it doesn't feel like it's getting old, that, to have some element of surprise. But I have to say I don't consider that hard in the sense that I consider it fun. It's challenging, but that's the fun part. The hard part is the story building and making sure that structure is strong. It's sort of like building the scaffolding of a building versus like putting some really cool knobs on the doors.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. To draw a beautiful picture, you have to draw the underlying painting first.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of puzzling out and some really important. You want to make sure you're making the right decisions because those decisions make a big impact on everything else. But once all that's kind of done, then like those gags or the putting in the doorknobs is kind of fun. It's kind of like, ooh, let's do this, or ooh, let's do that.
The next episode, the episode Over a Barrel, has taken its knocks around the fandom, as we all know. But it did give us our fan favorite Brayburn. Love Brayburn. Was using the Indian stereotrope as it is your idea, or was that something that came down from up on high?
Well, it came initially from, and also again, I don't think of the way Lauren works as like things coming down. I mean, I know you're being a little facetious, but it's more like she's saying, hey, this would be cool to do. How could we make this work? And I think the initial idea of, hey, it'd be fun to do a Western type thing, cowboys and Indians or settlers, Americans type thing.
Right.
That would be fun to do. That came up in a story meeting, and then it was a question of, hey, but how could we do this? And then I guess what I brought to the table was the idea, well, what if they were in a struggle over one little strip of land because it had been the stampeding grounds and now it had been planted with trees. And that idea sort of was the nugget around which it was like, oh, now I can see how that could turn into a story. And so that's how I ended up, that was my initial involvement. And then so from my perspective, the idea of Native Americans, that was kind of that was sort of a given prior to me being involved. I thought it was a cool idea. I had no reservation, no pun intended.
I thought it was okay. I mean, it's not my favorite episode, but it gives us Brayburn and it gives us some more history, world building. I love world building in comics and cartoons. I want to know more about everything around us. I don't want to know. Anybody can do a bunch of jokes. I want to see the history of the Crystal Empire or the history of moving out west or whatever they're doing, right? So to me, it was a great world building episode myself.
It was the first episode, and I think maybe what was a little bit challenging is that just as people were getting really into exploring Ponyville and Equestria, Ponyville and proper, I think this was the first episode in the series to be set entirely outside of Ponyville. So maybe it was, maybe it would have been easier to digest if it came like in season 2 or season 3. It was maybe a bit of a shock also right off the bat there. That might be part of why it was hard to swallow for some people. I don't know. I know there are a lot of other reasons, but that could have been factored in.
It could have been. It was basically a huge shock. As like we're getting around Ponyville and this and Sweet Apple Acres and everything. All of a sudden, let's go west. It's like, huh?
Right.
How'd that happen? But yeah. How about this? Too many Pinkie Pies.
Yes.
Love that one. Too many Pinkie Pies. It just goes to show, too much of a good thing is just trouble. When you were writing this one, the action from all these Pinkie Pies going everywhere. I know we just talked about laying the story, the skeleton of the story, and then putting everything on top of it. Once you get the story from point A to point B, trying to get 15 to 20 Pinkie Pies all doing something funny, was that a bit on the hard side? Trying to keep all that straight?
Yeah, but again, for me, that's the fun. Like that. I mean, yes, it's the answer is yes. It's hard, but it's not hard but it's hard in a very fun way for me. Like, I enjoy the challenging episodes. To me, are the fun episodes, and and so I think maybe that's how. I think some people say that I'm controversial, that some of my episodes have been controversial, and I guess that's been true, but that's never the intention. It's more that I just kind of get drawn to the episodes that are sort of challenging. So for that episode, yeah, it was challenging to figure out how to make sense of this cloning idea and to track all the clones. And I think what made it more manageable was the fact that the choice that we made to have there just be one clone initially, and then to take care of that clone is when she goes and decides to make more clones, and then those clones get out of control and make more clones. So we didn't really have, if you look at sort of how the episode times out, I don't think she's dealing with more than one clone for more than a third of the episode. I don't know. I'd have to go back and check that.
Yeah.
And so that's 2/3 of the episode where it really wasn't like clones all over the place. And then once it's clones all over the place, then it's, I don't know, it's hard, but it's fun. But it's fun, and also we didn't have to track all that ton of clones for 22 minutes. It was more like 8, I think.
When they were all sitting in there watching the paint dry, were you like sitting there trying to come up with the little jokes that caused them to lose their cool and get shot? I mean, there was the orange frog, of course, and then there's look what I can do with my hoof with the fingers. Did you actually leave that to the storyboard artist? You said put funny stuff here, or
no? I wrote in all of those setups and punch images, but the DHX made them better. There's no question. They kind of, and certainly the biggest example is the G3.
The G3 face, yeah.
Which was not in the script. But in my understanding is they were looking for a way to include a G3 face, and then when they saw in my script the line, hey, I bet you can't make a face like this, and I probably just said she makes a crazy face, and they're like, bingo. And of course they knocked it out of the park, and that was DHX all the way.
Oh yeah, that one was funny. Spike at your service. I felt that you gave us a bit more of his personality and depth. We hadn't gotten a lot of depth with Spike up to that point. A couple of, but not really. He really is like your little brother who really wants to help you and really wants to make things right, for you. And is that how you envisioned writing him, as the little brother who goes out of his way and goes way further than he really should and gets in trouble for it, pretty much? Oh, by the way, thanks for the mustache joke. But
I think that's close. I mean, I don't feel like I can take a lot of credit for what what actually the episode the story that was aired. I was certainly a player in how it all evolved, but yeah, I think in terms of the degree to which I was involved, certainly having Spike be kind of like a little brother was certainly, I think that's an apt way of describing sort of what I had in mind.
Cool. Keep Calm and Flutter On brings us one of our favorite characters back, Discord. A lot of fans have been waiting a long time to get Discord back. Do you think that, just personally, I know you wrote the episode and everything, but it doesn't seem like he's really reformed. He's sort of like going, I'm free now, maybe I'll just play it cool. So do you think that that character is ever going to be truly reformed, or is he just going to be a troll for the rest of the time we have him?
Well, I would say that Discord is a trickster. Mm-hmm. So I would take anything he does with a grain of salt.
Yes.
Anything that, because that's his whole nature is to be a shapeshifter. So just because, and I think that even if you look at the episode, there is a little bit of a question mark on whether he's really reformed or not. And if I were watching that episode knowing nothing else about Discord except, the first 2 episodes of season 2 and that, I'd be like, I don't know. I
mean, he just came back with the plunder seeds, and it's like, oh, those plunder seeds should have sprouted eons ago. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Discord.
Yeah, I would take it all with a grain of salt.
Oh, man. Let's see. Next one. Games Ponies Play. We finally got to see Rainbow Dash as a filly, but not only that, we got to see her with her dad. Because almost nowhere in this series, up to this point, have we seen any of the Pegasus families. Not Scootaloo. We've seen her house now, but we didn't see her family. We didn't see her folks. We haven't seen Fluttershy's folks, and all we've seen is Rainbow's dad in a flashback. Is there any... we just want to see some of the Pegasus have families, right? As the only tribe that doesn't have families, right? We've seen Rarity's parents. We've seen Applejack's family. They've all seemed to be a big, huge, happy family, except for the Pegasus, where they just kick the birds out of the nest and they're done. And what do you think? What do you think about the Pegasus families? Do they just kick the kids out and that's it? Or are we going to have some happy Pegasus families in the future? Do we know?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion about that. I think that would be an interesting story to explore. And, I guess sort of in general, my whole, I think that the way, and maybe this is true for all the writers, I don't know, is that the way we approach our understanding of the world is that, I'll just speak for myself, the way I approach my understanding of the world is taking everything that exists in an episode is saying, okay, that's the way it is, and anything that's left unsaid as a question mark is up for grabs. It could be done either way, and it's not really settled until we've created another story that we're committing to producing. Right. And then when we commit, and that's when those unanswered questions get answered, is when we've built a story that makes certain assertions that it's this way and not that way, and we're going to produce it. Up until that point, stuff's kind of still in an amorphous creative soup court sort of place. So that question you're asking, I feel like I couldn't really commit to it until commit to an answer. It'd almost be irresponsible of me to commit to an answer unless. Do you know what I'm saying? Unless.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think that you're saying that you don't really want to say because it might happen. Who knows? It's sort of like I can't say anything. No, can't say nothing. Okay. Daring Don't.
Yes.
My new favorite episode of all.
Oh my God.
Yes, Daring Don't. Now, the one thing that a lot of people were talking about is that, okay, we see a lot of callbacks to prior shows, to the prior seasons. Not only that, we see a ton of calls to Indiana Jones. And love it, love everything about it. But the thing about making Daring Do a real pony, where she's not a character from a book.
Yeah. Because
in the original episode, you saw Daring Do as a character that is basically Rainbow Dash with other colored hair and tail, which basically would make you think that, hey, that's the imaginary character I would always have in my head when I'm reading a book, right? So now she's a real character. Now she's a real pony, which sort of creates this weird loophole in the FIM universe where now all of her fiction becomes autobiography. So you got all these books which are now autobiographies instead of fiction books. What do you think? Do you think that was really do you think that's going to cause problems on down the road? Whereas, it might it's put a little hitch in the universe building. Do you think it's going to cause a problem down the road?
I don't think so. And I guess I'm wondering does it create a problem right now? Does it?
Not right now, but maybe later on down the road.
I think to me it's interesting. Like, it does raise questions.
Mm-hmm.
The questions, but I don't think any of those questions are unanswerable. And the process of answering them in the form of episodes, I think, is fun and intriguing. So I guess my short answer is I don't think so. I mean, I think it sort of poses some creative challenges to sort of make clear what the implications of that are, so that but I really don't have any feeling that that we're not up to that creative challenge.
Oh, good. I sure hope you are, because I love Daring Do. I want her to come back, so I don't want to have this catch-22 where you can't bring her back because it screws up the history. Now that she's a real pony, I want her to come back again. I want her to have her own series, for crying out loud. But there you go. I love that character.
If she's not back, it's not because we're afraid. The reason would not be that we're like, oh no, we box ourselves into a corner that we can't write ourselves out of. Let's just sweep this under the rug and pretend it never happened.
Right.
I promise you that would not be the reason.
Okay. Good.
It would just be the only reason would be that we just had other stories we wanted to tell, and that's all.
Okay, cool. That's you made my heart really, really happy now. I was really hoping that wasn't gonna be the last Daring Do episode, so we'll find out later. So one that's coming up we can't tell much about, but Rarity Takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
But the hub has put out this piece right here, which is the still from getting off the train, I think. We know we can't talk much about this episode because it hasn't aired yet. But the one thing I do want to ask, because we've been told and told and told there's going to be tons of awesome music this season. We've only had really one song. So does we have a song in this one? Do we get a song?
Are you hoping for a song?
I'm hoping for a song. Because it's Manhattan and it's Broadway, and I'm expecting a Broadway musical is what I'm expecting. At least a Broadway song of some kind.
If you are hoping for a song, you will not be disappointed.
Oh, good. Awesome. Lovely. Because they're knocking it out of the park with the last few songs they've done, and I'm really happy, so I'm hoping that we get some more epic music. So one last question before we go to commercial.
Okay.
What is your favorite thing about writing that keeps you coming back doing it for a living?
Favorite thing?
Yeah. Writing.
I think the puzzle solving. It's like cause I come back to this whole idea about you're asking some of the questions you asked. A couple of them I had to do with is it hard to with blank or is it hard to blank, and the answer is yes, it's hard, but that's the fun of it, is the puzzle. So to me, the solving a puzzle, feeling like, oh, how are we going to do this, and then and the more challenging the puzzle, the more fun it is. The harder it is, the more fun it is for me, in some twisted, masochistic, crazy way. So the fun part of writing is sort of, it's like being in a maze and figuring a way out of the maze, and then looking back and saying, oh, that's the pattern. I couldn't see that pattern before, but now I see it, and it was there, and I found my way, I little piece by piece, step by step, found a way out, and then figured out the pattern in the process. That standing back and looking at it and saying, there it is, that is the most satisfying part. And so that's what, believing that I can get to that place makes me think that with the next story, we'll figure it out. And then I'll get to, stand and look at the maze when I'm outside and say, there it is, and have that feeling of satisfaction. That's what keeps me going.
Just like Daring Do getting out of that trap again.
Yeah, it is a little bit like that. I mean, it's in a nerdy, in front of a computer, 10 pounds overweight kind of way. It's my version of that.
There you go. Okay, so we're going to go to commercial right now, gang. And then when we come back, we are going to talk about conventions coming up. And then we're going to go into charity. And then we're going to have Screwball in the chat so you guys can ask your questions of this fine gentleman, Mr. Dave Polsky. So we'll be right back in just a minute and a half, so hang tight.
It's harvest season here at Sweet Apple Acres, and the You Pick Apple adventures have begun. You can make the most of this opportunity by getting a bushel full of the plumpest, juiciest apples this side of the Everfree Forest. Whether for a homemade apple pie, delicious apple fritters, or fresh off the tree, it all begins with a visit to Sweet Apple Acres Apple Orchard. Go visit with the Apple family, a short trot southwest of Ponyville. Applejack.
Well, how'd it do?
Granny Smith. Apple Bloom.
I want it now!
And Big Macintosh.
Yep.
Will treat you like one of the family. Fresh apple cider? Try our 10 varieties. Apple pies and dumplings? Mouth water. Sweet, red, delicious apples? They got 'em. Tart Granny Smith apples? You'll find 'em there too. No ladders needed. Just rear up and pluck you some of the sweet apple goodness that graces the plates of our princesses Celestia and Luna. And remember, our apple stand can be found at the corner of Appleton Road, right near Quills and Sofas. Apple cider donuts, fresh apple butter, and apple juice. It's always a family adventure at Sweet Apple Acres.
Would you look at them fancy duds you can get from our friends at WeLoveFine.com? Shoot! Hats, bags, and posters too? They got everything you could ever want. Except apples, of course. So mosey on down to WeLoveFine.com and rustle you up some Sweet Apple Acres Sunday best. Yee-haw!
You need apples, if you need applesauce, if you need apple fritters, if you need apple anything. You go down to Sweet Apple Acres and you see Applejack, and you see Big Macintosh, and you see Granny Smith. Maybe even Apple Bloom will be around, but she's behind the outback with the Crusaders, especially if, Bab Seed is in town. But you go down there and you get yourself some Apple products because they have it all down there. It's delicious. Delicious. Except for when Flutterbat is sucking all the juice out. But anyway, that just makes applesauce. But you go down there and you check that out. All you humans down there, humans, you go to WeLoveFine.com and get all the new stuff. I mean, they are putting out shirts within 24 hours of new episodes. They had Flutterbat stuff up in about 26 hours. So if you want the new stuff, the new hot stuff, you go to WeLoveFine.com and they will have it all. And we're back. And now we're going to talk about conventions. Conventions coming up. But convention season is slowly, actually very quickly, coming upon us. First one of the year is going to be BabsCon. BabsCon is coming up here, right here, in San Francisco, California. That is April 18th through 20th, 2014. Andrea Libman, GM Barrow, Emmy Larson, Amy Keating-Rogers, Megan McCarthy, Brian and Brianna Drummond, and guess who else? Yep, Peter New was just announced to be here. So Peter New's going to be here also. Music by Eurobeat Brony, Fanning, Tarby, and Michael A. And they actually have a Tumblr, Ask a Golden Gates. You can ask their mascot anything you wish. So check out the Tumblr, Ask a Golden Gates. We're actually going to have them on the show here probably at the end of January to talk even more about what's going on. So be on the lookout for that show. Everfree Northwest is going to be July 4th through 6th, 2014 in Seattle. And they've announced their first guest, Marika Hendricks. Gilda the Griffin herself is going to be there. Registration is open. Panel submissions are open. So get up there and check out their website for everything you need on that front. BronyCon, August 1st through 3rd. Their new website is up. They're back in Baltimore. Registration is now open, as so is Hotel Reg. And they announced their first guests, Heather Breckel and Tony Fleece, from the comic book series. So their comic books are going to be represented there very well. So check that out also. Make sure you get your hotel reservation in because they go in a hurry from them. Okay, for that, we're into charity. Now, a few shows ago, we had Sipsy on. And the person who won that drawing said, you know what? Hold up a minute. I won before. I don't want it. Give it to somebody else. So that's what we're going to do right now. So I got a hat full of names right here, full of the people that were part of that drawing. Then we're going to draw again. And for that, I'm going to remind you, we have the DJ Pone 3 pop figure. We have the Toys R Us collector set of blind bags, the original first one. Not only that, but we have this, set of My Little Pony Micro Series covers done by Sibsy, signed by Sibsy, with this cute little doodle drawing on it. Right there. Yeah? So you are going to get all of that stuff. Get that off there. And I have a hat full of names right here. Close my eyes. Dig at the bottom. I'm going to get, which one? This one right here. Okay. Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? Mike Brent. Mike Brent, you are the winner this time. So Mike, send me an email to dusty@manlysbrony.com with your contact info, and I will get that out to you in the next week or so. I got so much to mail right now. So, get rid of those names. Put on my hat for my lowly Detroit Lions, who fired their coach today. Yeah, they needed to. But anyway, now, moving on. We got Josefina. Josefina was on the last show, and her charity was the Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media. Wonderful, wonderful people. And we made our 500 bits. Not only that, we made 675 with Care to Win's match, which puts us at $24,203 for the year, charity-wide. So we're getting close to that $25,000. So the things that we're giving away for that are this present right here, which was given to us by Pink Pearl Apple. I have no idea what's in here. This was sent to us for this charity specifically, and these cards, which are Trixie, Princess Luna, and Derpy, which are the characters that are played by that lovely woman. And when I get it, you are going to get the signed Pixel Kitties art from her once it gets to me from way over there across the water. So, I have another hat full of names right here. Not many names in this one, so you got a pretty good chance. And we're gonna pick this one. And this one is Phoenix Core. Phoenix Core, you win this one. So Phoenix Core, you get me again, send me an email, dusty@manlysbrony.com, and I will get that stuff out to you once I get the autograph from overseas, and we'll ship that out. So, that is all outstanding charity business. Now, we got to the new one. This is for Mr. Polsky. And Mr. Polsky, tell us a bit about your charity.
Well, it's everybody knows about what happened in the Philippines and the typhoon, that hit there, and the hurricane. Mm-hmm. And my connection there is I have a neighbor who is married to a woman whose family is all out there in the Philippines, mm-hmm. and who there were no casualties, in terms of loss of life, but there was tremendous devastation in terms of the communities that they lived in, the houses, the access to food, the access to water, mm-hmm. So anything that can be done, and it's kind of obviously out of the spotlight of the news and has been for a few weeks now, and it would be a shame, I think, if just because it's not in the media spotlight, that we forgot about the fact that a lot of these people still aren't getting food and still aren't getting water, and so and still don't have adequate shelter and so forth and so on. So this is just my teeny tiny effort to sort of make sure that there's just a little extra flowing out there from those who can spare it, even though it may not be kept, it's not under our noses right now in terms of the media. So
we set up a page over on manlysbrony.com for the Red Cross of Canada, who's doing everything they can for the Haitian nation, who are helping out right now. So you go over to manlysbrony.com, click on a link, and give us anything at all, $5 and up. You are in the drawing for these things over here. So first thing is going to be, and we haven't done this one before, but here's an Octavia Melody Funko right here. So that is up. And then this is kind of cool, actually. My good friend Bojo Pigeon, who happens to be in Japan, or not Japan right now, but he does live in Japan, or has lived in Japan, has given me this, which is a Japanese exclusive iPhone case, Twilight Sparkle. Isn't that cool? Check that out. So that also is up. Now, we break 500 bits. Anybody remember Spike Firemain? Our good friend Spike, who does all those wonderful carvings? We break 500. And check that out. Check this out. This is a scene from Daring Don't, where Daring grabs the book out from under Rainbow Dash, carved in wood, painted beautifully by him. That is also up for grabs. And I'm sure if you bring it to any convention that Dave is at, Dave will sign it for free.
Gladly.
Gladly. So that, if we crack 500 bucks. Now, we're really close to 25 grand for the year. Really close to 25 grand for the year. So, we need about $800 to crack 25 grand. So, if we actually crack that, if we crack 25 grand for the year, this is the last one for the year, guys, and then we start over again. So if we crack 25 grand, I'll come up with something. Trust me. I'll come up with something to add to this. So, I don't know quite yet, but trust me, it'll be good. Keep watching my Twitter about it. But we'll come up with something. And that is charity for the week. And with that, we need to find our very good friend, Screwball. Hey, Dave, I've lost him again. Can you call for Screwball?
Screwball!
Screwy!
YOLO!
Oh, there he is.
Whoa, what was that? What was that?
I don't know. I'm just calling you.
No.
Okay, I guess the lost dog.
Sometimes, I gotta drag you out from behind
sometimes.
the desk chewing on the stinking Cat 5 cables again.
God, that was a lot of time ago, and you'll never let that go.
I won't. You know why? Because I keep finding teeth marks on my Cat 5 cables. And I know it ain't me.
You got a rat problem, okay?
Do I have rat with a propeller beaner, that's what I'm telling you. How you doing, Screwy? Haven't talked to you in a little while.
Let's just say that I've been absolutely busy with this holiday season.
Busy.
Busy.
Retail boys, so it's kind of busy for us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But other than that, it's not even snowing very bad up there, right? Alberta.
Actually, we kind of had Alberta not so bad. Now, Ontario, they got it bad.
Yeah.
They got, ice rain and power outages. It's still, it's been, days now, and they still haven't got the power back up.
Yike.
Yeah, so I'm getting the easy winter.
Prairie in Alberta, where you're supposed to get the bad stuff.
We're supposed to be getting the bad stuff. I'm blaming global warming for this.
Okay. Hey, what kind of questions do we have in the chat?
We have so many. Let's see here. 1 second. I'm trying to recollect my thoughts here. So this one's from Fireman, actually, the same guy that made the awesome wood carving. This one's for you, Dave. Dave, when you came up with Daring Do's alter ego, AK Yearling, I know is a playoff of J.K. Rowling, but did you realize that AKE is also the abbreviation of Amy Keene Rogers? Was that deliberate or accidental?
That was probably it was accidental, but there must have been some. I mean, I think it was in some unconscious way deliberate, in the sense that, I'm familiar with, I've heard her called A.K. Rogers, so it rang when I was thinking A.K. Yearling, J.K. Rowling, it just sounded right to my ear, and so that must have been the reason why. And also, she's an amazing writer, so two amazing writers, why not get two in one?
There you go.
So, but I'm not that smart that I thought of it on purpose.
I think he did a genius job with that. I absolutely went hysterically. I just could not stop laughing when I saw that. I'm a Harry Potter fan, so I thought that was amazing.
Thank you.
So this one is from Jamie Thowell. I always think I say his last name wrong. Question for all. Does anyone have an influential person / idol who they look up to today, and why?
What about you, Dave? You have a writer or somebody that you look up to in the business or something like that?
Well, there are dozens of people. The person who jumps out to my mind right now is David O. Russell. I'm really excited about the trilogy of films that he's put out, most recently American Hustle, and I love the way he works. I really love the storytelling that he does and the character-based nature of it, and I love the way he works with actors to sort of help build the script, but still the scripts hang together in their own way. I love the heart that's in there, but it's also like kind of the edgy comedy that's in there too. So I'm very high on David O. Russell right now.
Cool.
But that's from an artistic point of view. You mean like from a moral point of view, like a kind of upstanding moral figure as a hero?
What do you want to talk about, man?
I've been reading a lot about John Wooden, the basketball coach for UCLA that had I guess 10 championships in 12 years or something like that, and he's a pretty cool guy. I've been kind of learning about him, but changes depending on who I'm reading and who I'm watching. But right now, those are who are in vogue with me right now.
Cool. Next.
One sec. There we go. I'll put this to you, Dave, from Gavin Japp. Which character has been your dream to write for?
Which characters in my dream to write for? Well, so many of my dreams have come true. But right now, at this moment, I'm feeling kind of itchy to do an Applejack episode. So see what happens. If should that opportunity ever come along, that would be fun.
Cool.
I'm an AJ fan. I love
She
that.
needs more episodes.
She does.
Yes, we need more AJ. Next.
So this one is from I love this name, Dirty Kitten. First off, he wants to do a shout out to his girl Ariel, and question is for everyone. I don't know if you've seen any of these yet, Dave, but he was wondering about the thoughts of power ponies and bats.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
Well, I saw Power Ponies. I haven't seen Bats yet, unfortunately. But what's
your thoughts on it?
What are my thoughts? I thought Power Ponies was fantastic. I loved it. I didn't see Bats, so I like the premise. I'd like to see it, but I just haven't caught it yet. So, but I thought Power Ponies was terrific. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, because I did. I'm a comic book geek. I liked it. I could point out every
superhero.
Every superhero trope that happened, I could point out.
Yeah.
So I didn't care. It was a superhero trope. It was still fun. I was like, okay, this one, that guy, or that one.
And it felt like a pony episode
And it
to
felt
me.
like a pony episode.
Yeah.
My friend is also the same way. He loves comics and all that, and so I point out a lot. But then when I watched it again, he was pointing out even more. I'm like, I did not know this. Yeah, but I have to say, Rarity I love her power.
Yes.
It's so awesome.
As reading.
Green Lantern.
Yes, Green Lantern. Next.
So this one's from Pink Pearl Apple. Happy New Year. Also, what do you guys think of the new... Oh, God, wait. I already asked this. God, what did you think of the new episode?
Well, we just answered that.
Yeah, that was Bats, but...
Well, I liked it. A lot of people were giving it heck, but this isn't Ben-Hur, people. Stop with the nitpicking. It just sit back, turn your brain off, and have fun. I mean, there's no reason to be having 15 people out there with freaking, analysis sites or analysis things. It's like, come on. Sit back, have a good time, drink a cider, and laugh. Why are we nitpicking all of this stuff? Why? Why are you taking the joy out of watching cartoons? Stop it!
Dusty, I have a confession. I was one of those people. I was one of those people. I don't want to get into it though, but I was one of those people. So I'm just gonna zip it and stop it.
My thing is that all these people have all of a sudden come up with all these analysis, YouTubes, and it's like, why?
Oh, those things, yeah.
Come on. I mean, we need like maybe one or two that are good, that give it an opportunity, give it a chance, and then you've got 15 or 16 other people now that are doing them, that are just doing them to do them. They're not doing them any justice whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. I mean, sit back, relax, have a bowl of tricks, and watch your cartoons, and shut your brain off, because that's what they're for. They're for having a good time. I mean, so what if... I mean, it's a land of magical pastel ponies. Things happen in lands of magical pastel ponies. So, don't try to put too much of your human everyday into it, because that's not, our reality and pony reality is not the same. So anything can happen in cartoons. Anything can happen in cartoons. Look at Looney Tunes. It tells you anything can happen. Anything can happen in a cartoon. So enjoy it. Enjoy it while you have it. Because someday we won't. Someday Pony will end, and we won't have Pony anymore. So enjoy it while you have it, because sooner or later it'll go away, and you'll be sad. Sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No, sorry.
Sorry.
Just in my tangent. Okay. So this one is from Marby Z. Question for Dave. Do you still write for South Park? If you do, or if you could, would you want to make a South Park episode about the Brony phenomenon?
I do not write for South Park anymore. If I did, would I want to? Maybe. But then I'd have to be really mean about the Brony phenomenon. I don't feel, and that's not how I feel. So maybe not. I don't know. But it's purely speculative, because I don't write for that show anymore.
What'd be funny, and I've seen them do this on South Park before, is if Cartman was really mean about Bronies, was a closet Brony himself.
Sure.
And at the end of the episode, all 4 of the boys are Bronies at the end of it.
Maybe. It does seem like a little bit in, Cartman. That seems to fit somewhat Cartman's character. That's plausible.
Yeah, because he's always covering up. He's always covering up what he likes with being angry about it.
Right, exactly. Like that famous episode where they find him having a little doll party or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's certainly within the realm of possibility for a character arc for him, if they were ever to do a premise like that. But I don't know if they ever would. Maybe. Who knows?
Next.
So this one is from... Sorry, one sec.
Who?
James Justice!
Resident superhero of Stay Brony, my friends. Manipulator of cornflakes. Hero toward that scourge, soggy milk. What does James want to know this week?
I just loved how you're just like holding in your breath, getting ready for it, and I just crashed it down and it made you wait. Okay, so question for all. What are some of your favorite pony-themed gifts you got for Christmas? And I'll put as well, or overall.
Well, for me, a very good friend of mine, Smudge Dragon, actually took My Little Pony fabric and sewed me an iPad case that has My Little Pony fabric in it. It's so freaking cool. 1, it's handmade. 2, it's My Little Pony. It's so awesome. So yeah, that's it for me.
What about you, Dave?
My favorite is I guess there was a Hasbro or the Hub put together a poster. Went back when Bridesmaids came out. Of Bridal Maids. You guys have seen this image?
Yep.
So I have that poster, and I like it a lot.
Cool. I don't even have that poster. What about you, Steve?
Okay. What happened was we at work, we all of us customer service got together for a Secret Santa party, and this went over to Amanda's, and then everyone knows that I love ponies, so I don't know who was going to be at the time, and I knew that someone was going to get me a pony, but I thought it would be like a little figurine or something like that, and I'm not much of a collector for those things. And then sure enough, I get the gift, and I open it up and I look inside and I just freak out because it was a Doctor Who T-shirt of My Little Pony. Oh, cool. And I couldn't stop swearing. I was like, "Holy fudge! This is so fudging good!" And everyone's like, "Holy cow! Screwball's actually swearing!" Yeah, and then the guy that gave it to me, Mitchell, I was just like, "Dude, you just made me the happiest guy," and I gave him a big hug, and everyone's like, "Oh," and yeah. And every now and again when I see him, I still poke fun at him. I'm like, "Hey, buddy, thanks for the T-shirt."
Next.
That was a good one. That honestly surprised me.
Was it Dr. Hooves? Was it a Dr.
Yeah, Dr. Hooves. Yeah, definitely. Everyone thought it was really cool too because we have a lot of Whovians in our store. So when they saw that and everyone constantly kept showing it to everyone, they're like, "Holy cow, that's really cool."
You know what's really funny, Dave? Would be really funny as a pony episode.
Mm-hmm.
You had the background character who is Dr. Hooves, right? Go about his day, and everybody thinks that he's Doctor Who, but he's not, and things happen, and he must be Dr. Hooves, and it's like, but nothing really happens. So it's like, is he or is he not? And at the end of the episode, you basically see him walking into a police box. It's like, it's like, is he or is he not?
That's very interesting.
That'd be funny.
Get the copyright, and then write it, Dave.
The problem is getting the BBC to release, the ability to do that, because they don't do that very often.
Yeah, but there's parody law here in the United States is such that you probably could do something somewhat like that.
Somewhat like that. Still don't want to piss off the BBC.
No, you don't want.
Do what Community does. If you've ever seen the show, they couldn't do Doctor Who, but they referenced it so hard in that show that they what they call him, Dr. Spacetime or something like that, and it's genius. Like it's Doctor Who, but they don't. They sort of turn it a bit of a distance away, like for example the police box, instead it's red and it's a phone booth, and that sort of thing. And so if they could do that with ponies, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That would be pretty awesome.
Next.
So this one is from the Andy Mac. For Dave, there's a bit of a trend this season towards more wacky/exotic stories and framing devices, like the Power Ponies, Daring Do Being Real, this week's episode, etc. Is there anything in particular driving this trend, or are you all just cutting loose and having a little fun?
B.
There you go. Cutting loose and having a little fun.
That's so straightforward and easy.
Next.
Sorry, one sec. Where did I put you? I think this was asked already during show. I was constantly grabbing questions, so I'm sometimes out of it. But for this one's from Parasol, a question for Dave. What inspired you to get into writing?
What inspired me to get into writing? Well, I think it was no one fell swoop thing. It was kind of an evolution over time. In high school, I did a lot of theater and put on my own plays, and then in college that became being involved in comedy and an improvisational comedy troupe and a college troupe, and then that evolved into me going to New York and just pursuing a entirely different career, but on the side, learning acting and short story writing and poetry. And then I was writing poetry obviously on the side, not as a career. And then got published. And then a friend of mine from college called me, who knew me from my college comedy days, about possibly helping him out with a show in LA. And I was living in Maine at the time. And so then that ended up enticing me, and I went for it, and I got the job, and so that ended up getting me out here in LA. And then from that point on, it was more like, dang, I'm out here in LA with a wife and a kid, and we moved, and we sold our house, and we're here. And so a lot of the inspiration for writing was, I got to work. So at different times the motivation was different, and certainly it has evolved since that time. I've been out here doing this 18 years now. So, at different phases of my career, the motivation's different. So I wouldn't say there's any one silver bullet inspiration. It's been more just like following breadcrumbs, a trail of breadcrumbs.
Cool.
I like breadcrumbs.
A lot of carbs. A lot of carbs.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are ya? Fudge cakes. Okay. So this one's from, I'm bringing this one as well, from RBZ. Question for all. How was your Christmas? Did you get anything special from some pony? And or did you give a friend or loved one something they really wanted?
Both. Because the guys got together and bought me an electronic drum set, which is way more than I ever could have imagined. And I ended up getting Carradine a slide guitar, Hawaiian style, lap steel that he'd been wanting all year. So basically he surprised me with something I never could have even hoped to have gotten, and I got him exactly what he wanted. So, what about you, Dave?
It's been, my focus has been more on my wife's birthday is right around this time of year, and she's having a milestone birthday. I won't say which milestone. So it's been, and I can't say too much about it because it's a surprise, and hopefully she's not listening to this show. I'm sure she's not. So I hope she does it between now and the time the surprise is unveiled. So I can't say too much about it, but that's been where my focus has been. So. Hopefully she'll be pleased.
You're just a big romantic softie, aren't you?
I'm a little bit gross that way.
I got my dad a 3D Blu-ray player with his new 3D TV. 3D on that thing's amazing. We watched Predator in 3D. It's so cool. And then we watched Elysium. That was my fourth or fifth time I watched it. And then I got my mom a gift card towards a new iPad that she always wanted. I don't have the money for an iPad, but and then I got my brother a new game, and then they got me new pair of skis. Oh my god. I can't wait to go skiing. Cannot wait to go skiing. They actually took it to Edmonton to get it, the bindings fitted and everything. And when it's back, I'm just gonna go skiing this New Year's Day and jump off all the jumps and probably break a leg.
Oh man, just don't break your tongue. I need you here.
Oh, how would that work? Oh, I mean, I actually.
Don't break your.
Break my jaw.
Next.
So this one's from Gavin Jab. Question for all. Favorite power horse?
Favorite power pony?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a toss-up because...
Mine's, of course, Rarity.
Of course, it's Rarity. I liked Dash's costume. I think that the powers were sort of... Okay, she already has the power of weather, so it's... Because she's a Pegasus, it should have been something else. But anyway, I think that the Masked Matterhorn costume was epic. Really cool. But having Applejack as Wonder Woman was just pure genius. Just
Some people were saying Wonder Woman, others were saying Batman because their parents are dead.
No. She was Wonder Woman because she had the bracelets, which were the golden horseshoes, and she had the sonically controlled lasso. It's Wonder Woman. So, I think Applejack was the best myself.
What do you think?
Well, the one that sticks out in my mind is Fluttershy, even though it's kind of like an anti-power because she never really, it's like she's having so much trouble getting angry to activate her power. That to me, that's just such a funny conceit, and of course, perfect for her character. And then, of course, the payoff in the end is fun and unexpected because you sort of feel like it's a Spike episode. So the Spike payoff feels like it's going to be the real payoff, and it ends up it gets topped by the Fluttershy payoff. So I'm partial to that just because of how it played into the story. I loved it.
Yeah. Then and you're blowing her voice for 3 days.
Right. Oh well, yeah, and then and how it morphs into that hearing Fluttershy talking this kind of,
Oh my goodness.
That was awesome.
That was good. I had a good laugh at that part.
Yeah, it was so over the top. I mean, in a way, I feel like, of course, we saw it coming a little bit because you're expecting her to, there needed to be some kind of payoff, and you kind of knew it was gonna. But the way it came was so clever and so over the top. Very satisfying, I thought. Well done.
What was really funny is that most of the henchmen were the same character. So basically, they were all the same. And if you actually ever watched the 1960s Batman episodes on TV,
totally fit
because the Joker did that. The Joker actually dressed all of his henchmen exactly the same.
Right, and they were totally expendable. They were just totally like in there to get kapowed and and all that.
The only thing I missed on that whole episode was one cutscene where it said kapow in a big box. Like in the 60s Batman. All we needed was one
Wait, they did that?
Pop up there and say kapow. Or something.
They should have done that.
But those images did show up.
Did they? Where?
On their flanks.
No. I mean, actually, when they had the fight at the end, right?
No, but don't you think that was clever though? That
it was clever to put them there. It was clever to put them there, but during the fight, they could have done the same thing. It's like cut it and they go kapow or buck or something.
Oh, okay.
I just thought it would have. I'd have been on the floor gasping for air if that happened.
Man, we got the classic the classic Batman. And
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Right off the top of my head too. God.
But you gotta love the Batman references in the newest Bat one. Like, I'm not gonna say anything for you, Dave, but that whole scene of how it went down when they showed the computer reference, and then you see a perfect Batman symbol. I lost it.
Next.
So this one is from the really new mop. You gotta love new mops. Dave, what's your favorite episode of My Little Pony of 2013?
2013.
This year.
Favorite. Well, that's I have to think differently than I think of in terms of seasons, but 2013 is I have to think part of season 3, part of season 4. It's I have to get my brain around that. Oh gosh, my favorite. That's only the first few of season 4, and then of which ones of season 3 were.
You know what? Let's just make it easy. Let's make it the entire series as it stands right now, from 1 through now. Your favorite episode in the 3 and part of a season.
I know we've just been talking about Power Ponies, but I feel like I am a little bit biased towards the episodes I wrote, just because it's like saying, what are your favorite children? My favorite children are mine. But of episodes that I have not been involved with, right now, Power Ponies just really stands out as a fantastic one. It's just really super entertaining, complex but executed in a seamless fashion. I very clever. I just all around. I I just found it really, really entertaining. So that's what's standing out in my mind right now. I mean, there are, of course, other really terrific ones, but that one really just made an impression on me.
It made me want to go to that comic shop, because being a comic geek myself, it's like, oh, I want to get into my comic book. It's like, can I actually go in there and do something? That would be awesome. That'd be cool. Next.
Oh, so this one. This one is from a guy named Dusty2.
What?
Like that. I guess there's a second Dusty. Question is for all. Now this is a tough one. Why do you think people think Applejack is a background pony?
One, because she didn't get many of her own episodes in the first season. Basically, she wasn't fleshed out very much. So basically, she felt like a hanger-on. And on top of that, she's basically the Rock of Gibraltar of the group. I mean, she is. If you need something, you go to her. She doesn't have the flash of Rainbow Dash. She doesn't have the shyness of Fluttershy. She doesn't have the quote-unquote leadership brain of Twilight Sparkle. She's not the fashionista that is Rarity, looking for attention at all times. She basically sits in the background, does her work. She's the Rock of Gibraltar. If you need her, she's there. And that's what a background character is supposed to do. A side character is supposed to be, that kind of rock. But that's why I want more Applejack episodes. That's why I liked last week's episode, because it was centered around her and Fluttershy and their conflict. Applejack has a business to run, and she has a family to feed, and she has Equestria to feed, and then you've got Fluttershy, who's all about the animals. So that's perfect as a foil to get those two to basically, how are they going to deal with it? How are they going to take care of it? How is their friendship going to get through two things that are obviously very important to those two ponies? So it was a very good episode.
Good. Actually, and plus it was the first that Fluttershy and Applejack actually had an episode together.
Yeah.
From what I can remember.
What about you, Dave?
Well, I don't, I can't really speak to why she's, I think can't answer it really any better than you did, Dusty. The only thing I would add is that the reason I think that maybe there weren't a lot of episodes about with her in season 1 is because it turns out there's a special challenge presented in writing a character whose main attribute is honesty, because it's hard to find the flaw inherent in that. Like, with the other characters, their strength has a weakness in it, where that's fun to explore, that kind of makes them, that sort of has stories kind of can come out of. Whereas with Applejack, it's not so clear what the flaw in honesty is, and that's sort of embedded in that. I mean, you can find one, like if she were to get self-righteous or something, or lacking tact, but it's a narrower window. It doesn't present as many opportunities to have fun that would be fun to watch, as opposed to maybe unpleasant to watch. So that said, it's really satisfying when you really do an Applejack episode well, but it's just almost like the range of possibilities are a little narrower with a character like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we see a lot of the episodes that we've had with Applejack are mostly on family or on conflict with other characters.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
So this is from Aussie MLP to Dave. What is your dream car?
Dream car.
My dream car?
Yeah.
Well, I guess a Tesla, I'd have to say.
Now. You can't just say Tesla, because now they got different models of Tesla.
Whichever one they're still making when I can afford one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, because they just, I think the only production they're doing right now is the sedan.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take one. Is that one of the things you're offering?
No.
Oh, okay. Keep tuning in.
Keep tuning in, but no. Next.
Ooh, here's one for you, Dave. So this one's from Lycan. If you could write for any show, past or present, which one would it be?
write for any television show?
Any
Pastor?
show. Yep.
Any show.
Any show.
Oh my God. That's so wide open. My brain is exploding. But I would say All in the Family.
Ooh, good choice.
Yeah.
We used to watch that a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's what I would pick.
Nice choice.
That's a good choice.
Thank you.
Here we go. So this one's from Gavin Japp. I keep bringing up his because he's bringing these ones that I just have to ask. Question for all. What actor or musician would you like to see in My Little Pony?
That's interesting. Well, we already know that. It's already been announced that Weird Al Yankovic is coming. We already know that.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait for that.
He's already coming.
I told my dad that, and he's just like, what? And I'm like, you know what, you have to see the episode now.
So that one's coming. So we know Weird Al's coming, so that's off the table. I was just trying to think. First of all, you have to come up with a scenario, right? So you have to know what the scenario of the episode would be to bring that particular actor or singer on the episode, right? Because, it was sort of like Gilligan's Island. When Gilligan's Island, they had like this mop-top 4-piece band show up on the island, and basically they were a Beatles ripoff, and the only reason they were there is because they wanted to get away from civilization because they were too popular. It was like, okay, well, what kind of scenario would we have that somebody would have to come to Ponyville or come to, maybe it's a big Equestria-wide tour in, let's see, the pony version of Bruce Springsteen is on tour, and he has to come through Ponyville, or he has to come through Candlelight or something, and needs the help of the main six to fix his soundboard. I don't know. Off the top of my head. I don't know. That's really a weird question. What do you think, Dave? Did I give you enough time to think about it?
Yeah. Well, I guess is the question just like even in just purely in the abstract, like who would be great to have, like independent of what the idea would be associated with?
Yeah, sure. Independent. Who do you think would be a good fit to come on the cartoon?
Fit with the show. Oh, I see. Yeah, kind of a good cross. Sort of a great featured performer that would sort of fit the show somehow.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. I guess you didn't give me enough time. Keep talking, Dusty.
Okay, well then you said you had
back in the
70s, Mickey Dolenz, who was the drummer of the Monkees, actually was a voice actor on cartoons for a while. He did Devlin's brother, who was the mechanic on the motorcycle, and which was kind of neat because I was a big Monkees fan at the time, and seeing Mickey Dolenz into a cartoon was like blew my mind. And he was a main character. It was like he wasn't doing it just because he was Mickey Dolenz. He was doing it because he was good at it, and he had fun. So it was sort of blew my mind. So find that right role for that right person, and it'll all be good.
Well, living or dead, I would say John Wayne would be kind of interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, John Wayne out in Appaloosa, or John Wayne character style.
So just John Wayne and Ponies, somehow seems to go together and somehow feels completely wrong.
Get some Clint Eastwood in there too.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
What
would be funny, right, is that you'd have an episode in Appaloosa, and Brayburn is, we all know Brayburn's a little bit, over the top, but he's kind of shy, right? He's going after this girl that he likes, and into town rides John Wayne, the John Wayne character, right? And he sweeps that mare off her feet, off her hooves, and then Brayburn has to buck up, as it were, and get her back. And there would be a showdown, and it would be a pie off. It'd be right in the center of town, and they have to throw pies at each other. Yeah. Oh, hey, I made Dave laugh.
I'll get to work on it in the morning.
Oh, cool, awesome.
Totally rogue.
All I want side credit, Dave. That's it. That's the side credit. That's all.
I'm going rogue. I'm not going to get approval.
Write one up and send it in for approval. I'll even voice them. There you go.
I think anybody. I think Robert De Niro, like something really like this is. Here I am on the manliest Brony show, and I'm pitching manliest
Robert De Niro,
manliest featured pony performer. That's what I think that was fun.
Sylvester
Needs some
Stallone.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, it's Sylvester Stallone. You need some Bruce. You need some Bruce Willis.
Any of those guys,
Yep.
I think, would be super fun. If they
Have an
would-
Expendables ponies.
There we go.
basically, if any of them have any grandkids they're trying to impress.
Dolph
They-
Lundgren.
Oh my god, yes.
I must break you. Okay, Screwball, it's that time. You know what that time is?
No, what? No. What? No!
It's that time.
No!
Yes. We are at the end of the program, so I need you to pick that one great, huge last question.
Okay, here you go. Okay, Dave, you ready for this one? You better be ready for this one. Wait, let me think here. I'm reading through this one. One sec. Okay. Do you know what a crossover is, Dave?
A crossover, like a crossover promotion, like two episodes, like a show that
Two shows or
two shows that like a
podcast.
from my
Yeah.
My Little Pet Shop,
Yeah.
someone on there that show on Pony and vice versa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Now
okay.
Okay,
I
so
do.
here's the question then. Secret Tale, if you had the opportunity to write a crossover story for My Little Pony, one of the other shows you have written for, which one of them would you pick?
Oh, South Park, definitely. That would be weird and twisted. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that would never happen. But if it were to happen, I hope they would invite me to be a part of it.
That would be cool. And with that, we're at the end of the program. So I'm going to read for you all the wonderful live programming here on Everfree Network that you can watch every week when those shows are actually available. Sometimes they have to take time off for the holidays. A couple of shows took holidays time. But normally, this would be the list that you can watch every week. First, you start off on Mondays with this beautiful program, Stay Brony, My Friends. And then on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, you get the Cutie Art Crusaders, where the Cutie Art Crusaders find the best art this fandom has to offer and tells you why it is so good. The Inventory at KPNY is Odd Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, which is a radio drama where ponies of Equestria discover the Earth's internet and bronies. What happens? Come and find out. Then Equestrian Choir, Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, a source of truth in Equestria. Into the Spotlight with a Socket Jack, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, and that focuses on the person behind the brony, people that really need the spotlight on them, who really aren't getting it right now. Sketchy Sounds Live Songcast, Thursdays, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, a 2-hour live set of songs played by Sketchy for you. Post My Video with Jay Holler and BVids, Thursdays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, the premier video and animation showcase, interviews with guests, and showing off all that new PMB content every week. Lunar Republic Takeover on the radio side, Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where Nightmare Moon herself takes over the radio station and streams your requests all night long. Lunar Republic Takeover, gotta see that show. Mixology with a DJ One Trick and DJ Midley, Saturdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. These two awesome DJs take over the stream and wub it up for you. Eastern Sounds with Frozen Sound, Saturdays, 11 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, a 2-hour live mix of Brony music to bend your ears for our European friends. Saturday Night Songs with Michelle Krieber when the Krieber Clan is available, Saturdays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. And then Blue Screen Bronies, Sundays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's the gaming show where the Bronies actually tell you all the really great games that are out there and steer you away from the bad ones. And the last show of the week, Pegasisters Live, Sundays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Emily J. and Tay bring you all the news from the Pegasister point of view. Do it kind of like we do, sometimes better. And that is all the wonderful programming you can see every week right here on Everfree Network. Couple of announcements. Let me get to them right here. One, new t-shirt. You guys wanted it. It's right here. T-shirt on Redbubble. Look for Everfree Network. You'll find our t-shirt. Go check it out. Pick one up. We love it when you guys are wearing our swag. Second thing, stick around for the new outro because the new outro was done by some really great people at Filming is Magic. Love it. Thank you very much for your help, guys. And a special event coming up. Did you guys like Christmas Eve? Did you? Let's do it again Tomorrow night, a Manly New Year's Eve special, which will happen on our own live stream channel, Manly's Brony. Tomorrow starts at 7 p.m. Pacific and 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll go for a couple of hours. We'll drink cider. We'll have some prizes. We'll have lots of fun like we had on Christmas Eve. So come back and check it out. And thank you for all of the wonderful things you've done for us for 2014. And I want to thank Dave for being here, Dave Polsky for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Filming with Magic for giving us that wonderful outro. BabsCon, Care to Win, my wonderful girlfriend Amy. Everfree Network, Screwy, and you for coming every time we turn on the camera and make fools of ourselves. Every time. With that, it's time to go. Dave, any last words?
Just thanks. And this was fun. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. And with that, we're out of here. Our next guest in 2 weeks is going to be Sophie Cabra. Sophie Cabra, the artist and costumer extraordinaire, will be with us in 2 weeks. So check us out then. But come back tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm not going to get this edited. So it's going to be, when you see this on YouTube, don't come tomorrow because it'll be over. New Year's Eve will be gone. But if you're live and you're seeing us right here, come here tomorrow because we're going to have lots of fun. And we will catch you then. So, other than that, peace out.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We hate to leave you, but we'll be back soon. Good night, sweetheart. Good night. Good night, sweetheart. Good night.